Welcome back to Conversations with Therapists. Today I'm joined by Dr. Sheena Horsford of Mending Hearts Together Therapy. Dr. Sheena, thank you for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate this invitation.
For those meeting you for the first time, can you share a bit about Mending Hearts and what inspired you to create a practice centered on deep relational healing for couples and families?
I am a licensed couple and family therapist. I am born and raised in Richmond, Virginia, and I've always enjoyed helping people. It's like the traditional answer you hear that people go into this field, and it was a genuine thing. For me, I really found I don't know if I should say calling or if I just found my space in my lane when I was in grad school and I started to do therapy. It was just like, oh my gosh, I'm in the right space. I found my voice. I felt very comfortable talking to people and couples, and it was perfect. What I really found I had a heart for was working with couples and families. And I really enjoyed helping couples to build that trust, to come together, to open their communication. And with families, what I found was in my experiences was that it was just so nice to be able to bring a family together when there has been no communication, when there's been some type of trauma that's unspoken, that there are isolated members in the family. And I would work those families. I would pull families together, help them to open up communication, to process the trauma, to be able to heal from it. And I found that to be incredibly rewarding. So I wanted to create Mending Hearts because I wanted to now be in a space where I could practice and do this on my own. And so that's the whole purpose of me really starting Mending Hearts was I wanted to be in a space where I could do this on my own and really be very specific about the clientele that I'm working with since I have very specific populations that I really am drawn to. That was the premise around me starting Mending Hearts. I was just really motivated, like, yes, I can help. I really enjoy working with couples who want to build intimacy and heal from trauma and open communication. So that was a lot of the background of how I created Mending Hearts and how it began.
A core part of your work is helping couples and families rebuild emotional bonds using approaches like emotionally focused therapy and internal family systems. What does the process of mending actually look like in a session for someone who's never experienced this kind of therapy before?
The process of mending, there is layers to this. So, what I would say first, the process of mending is acknowledgement. One, showing up. Let's start there. Showing up to therapy. I do not take that for granted in any way. Whenever someone sits in front of me, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, and I tell this to everyone I see, I don't care if you have been in therapy for years. It is never easy. It is such a vulnerable process to sit in front of someone and open up and share all your secrets, your private thoughts, and be so vulnerable in front of someone you don't know. So that's the first thing is showing up. You got to show up. Showing up is part of the mending process. Next would be acknowledging that there's an issue, that there are things that are affecting you that you need to work through. Acknowledgement can take a couple of sessions. It takes a while to even realize like I didn't really recognize how much this was affecting me. Acknowledgement goes a long way in being very honest about, hey, this really is something that is hurting my relationship. This really is something that's hurting my interactions with others. I really do need to work on this. And then once you are able to acknowledgement, I believe the healing will start because then when you can acknowledge there's pain, there's hurt, there is trauma, then you're able to go and connect with that other person or people and be able to, that's when the healing begins around, oh, I'm in a lot of pain. I know that this is real. I'm really struggling with this. Can you help me with this? Can we mend our relationship? Can we try to, I know I said some things or I know I did some things. This was because I was in a lot of pain or this was because of my background, but I'm ready to make changes to that. Once you have acknowledged it, from there, you are able to heal and do different things and respond differently.
I really appreciate how it's a very gradual step-by-step process. People aren't immediately thrown into you need to do XYZ and this is how you're going to mend your relationship quickly. It's about stopping, pausing, being present where you are, acknowledging, and then going forward in the healing. I think that it creates a really safe and welcoming space.
Yes,
And
definitely. Yeah, you have to that showing up and being very present is so critical because what you're saying is you're prioritizing that this is something that is really important for me.
going off of the idea of showing up, you specialize in some very deeply personal areas, which you kind of alluded to earlier. Someone's intimacy, their sexuality, feelings of betrayal, experiences of longstanding family wounds. What helps clients feel safe enough to explore topics that they may have never voiced aloud to anybody, even to the people closest to them?
One, knowing that you are being listened to, knowing that the other person, when I share this, you are right there listening and hearing me. That is so important to be heard is so critical. What I create in my sessions is whether I'm one-on-one or whether I'm with a couple or a family. When it's more people, it looks different. So I'll start with when it's just me working with me. What helps people to feel comfortable is they know that I'm listening to them. They know they have my full attention. They know that I'm very present with them. And so the moment that you have someone who is very present, who is attentive, who is right there with you as you are about to open up and share something so personal, that feels good. That is so comforting. That is like a really good feeling that many of us, honestly, we don't get to experience in our relationships. How often, if you think about how often you are sharing a story with someone, they are on their phone, typing an email, cooking, cleaning the house. You don't have their full attention. And they are doing so many different things. And so that's number one is to know that whoever you are interacting with. So in couples work, that's really important because until I know that each partner is very present and able to really hear what the other person is sharing, I don't help. We're not going to open up too personal yet because that's what helps people feel comfortable is knowing that I am right here. You have my attention. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to criticize you. I'm going to listen and take it in.
Even as you were explaining that just now, I felt myself like relax into my chair, even over the screen. You have a very calming presence. And so I think it, like you said, it's so important to have a therapist who is truly there with you and not distracted. And the time is truly yours. Given all of your years of experience in clinical practice and education and community based work, what have you learned about creating a therapy environment outside of what you already spoke about in terms of being super attentive and super present for your clients about creating a therapy environment that is both high touch and results oriented, especially for clients with intense personal and professional demands?
In terms of getting the results, well, one, what I like to ask and check in with clients because my approach is very client centered in terms of I'm going in the direction that you want to go in. I tell clients this all the time when they're coming in. I can find stuff. That's my job. I can find issues. I can find things. I know how to look for problems. You may not want to address everything, and that's absolutely fine. So I need to know what is really pulling at your relationship, what is really affecting you, and what is it that is going to make a difference. Like over a period of time, what is it that is going to make a difference in your life that you can say, oh, this has been worth it, or this is what we need. And clients, people know. They know what they're looking for. They know what they want and what they want to feel. Oftentimes I like to ask, what is it that you want to feel? What is it that you want to see change? People can tell, I want to feel better. I just want us to have less tension in our relationship. And so when they tell me that, then I can create a roadmap. And then we go through, okay, let's look at the goals of how we get there. Let's start to break this down. In order to get the results you need, we have to be on the same page. Because what happens is when we're not on the same page, then you're expecting one thing, I'm delivering another. And this has happened before where they're expecting their relationship to change overnight, but they've been married for over 10 years. And that's just not realistic. In 5 sessions, it just doesn't happen that way. You can't change a 10 plus year problem in 1 month or 2 months. In order to get the results that the client is looking for, we really talk through the goals, what they want to feel, what they want to change. And we really talk about this is going to take a process. This is going to take some time. Are you willing to invest and really prioritize your relationship in that manner so that you can start to see the results that you're looking for?
For the first question, you mentioned that when you were starting your own practice, you liked that you could create, like, have your own clients. Do you find that when you're meeting with clients for the first time that you kind of gauge where they are in terms of their willingness to really put in the work? Because you just mentioned it's not just a quick fix. Let's do 4 sessions of therapy and call it a day. Do you find yourself, like, maybe vetting your clients is the wrong way to put it, but I guess trying to get a better
Yeah.
sense of who they are before really stepping into the process with them?
Yeah, this is a really good question. So as I'm growing and as my practice is growing, me personally and as a business owner, I am realizing that everyone is not a good fit. And that is a big lesson. And in my field, that's a huge lesson to learn because a lot of philosophies you're taught that you're supposed to help everybody, but everyone is not quite ready yet, or it's not a good fit for your style and how you work. So I do like to interview clients and I do like to uh, talk with them about this is my style, this is how I work. Sometimes clients are like, well, I'm looking for something a little bit different, or I want a quicker fix. And I'm not a quick fix therapist. I tell people that already. I'm not a quick fix therapist. And so you do have to, it's like an interview process. And when you see someone is not quite ready, or this happens more so in couples, because sometimes one partner is not on the same page as the other partner. They're showing up just because the other person told them to. Or, they know the relationship needs to be worked on, but they really don't want to be in therapy. That happens honestly all the time. Part of my work is we're not going to move forward until we're on the same page. So my approach to working with individuals when they show up, but they're like, I don't know if this is really going to work. I'm not sure. They still have one foot out the door. I validate that. I validate that. And the fact that you showed up, it says a lot. It says a lot, and I don't want to take that for granted. Some of it is just fear of I'm just scared. So if you are able to open up, show up, you've already done half the work. If I can get you to essentially trust me, we can do some good work together because you've already made a huge step. So I think I'm answering the question maybe a little bit different as I think about it more, but there is an interview process. Some clients are like, no, I don't think this is going to be a good fit. And we know that pretty early on. My style and what they're looking for isn't a good match. Some clients come in and they are one foot in, one foot out the door. The fact that they came in, I work with that part and I validate and I work with that and I nurture that part. And usually what happens, both feet start to come in. They usually actually get more out of it than they realize.
Dr. Sheena, thank you so much for being here today. I know I learned a lot about Mending Hearts and your philosophy. I'm really excited for whoever is watching this to now have a much better sense of you and be able to reach out.
How you can work with me is by on my website. You can mendingheartstogether.com. There's a link for you to fill out or a form for you to fill out for a consultation and book a free consultation with me. I would love to speak with you and see if I can help you in whatever it is you're going through.